Almost a week after receiving international backlash, Trump doubled down on his plan to buy Gaza.
The White House says senior members of the administration will meet European officials this week to discuss ways to end the war in Ukraine. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz says the EU can act in an hour if US President Donald Trump slaps tariffs on the bloc. Early results in Kosovo's general elections show Albin Kurti's party in the lead, but short of a clear majority.
US President Donald Trump reiterated his plan to buy Gaza, intending to use it as a site for future development. Trump initially announced the plan almost a week ago after meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. His offer drew international backlash, with both Arab and European countries as well as China, Australia and Brazil expressing their opposition against forcibly displacing the Palestinian population.
Committed to buying and owning Gaza. As far as us rebuilding it, we may give it to other states in the Middle East to build sections of it. Other people may do it through our auspices, but we're committed to owning it, taking it, and making sure that Hamas doesn't move back. There's nothing to move back into. The place is a demolition site.
Speaking on the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, Trump said he was losing his patience after seeing footage of the release of the latest 3 Israeli hostages. He also spoke on Russia's ongoing invasion in Ukraine, which he wants to end soon. The US president claimed the war would have never happened if he had been president.
US National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has said senior members of the administration will meet with European officials this week to discuss how to end the war in Ukraine. The push comes almost 3 years after Russia launched its full-scale invasion in 2022. Waltz said the Russian economy isn't doing well and that Trump is prepared to tax, to tariff, to sanction Moscow to get Putin to the negotiating table. Waltz also said the Trump administration is looking to use the meetings to begin talks on clawing back some of the US assistance to Ukraine. He said European allies will also need to take a greater role in supporting Ukraine going forward. Trump said the US is talking to Russia about Ukraine without Kyiv's input, saying his administration has already had very serious discussions. That runs counter to the Biden administration's position that echoed Zelensky's call of nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine.
I've had it. Let's just say I've had it. And I expect to have many more conversations. We have to get that war ended. It's going to end, and we have to get it ended. And we have to get it ended soon. Should have never happened, would have never happened if I was president.
Vice President J.D. Vance will head to the Munich Security Conference later this week, where President Volodymyr Zelensky will lead Ukraine's delegation. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Trump's Special Envoy on Ukraine and Russia Keith Kellogg will also attend the Munich conference. On Wednesday, Hegseth will attend a meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group at the NATO headquarters in Brussels.
Ein Skandal, übrigens ein
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has said the European Union can act in an hour if US President Donald Trump slaps tariffs on the bloc. Speaking in the first TV debate before snap elections later in the month, Scholz said his strategy for dealing with Trump is clear words and friendly conversations. He pointed to his public statements about respecting borders after Trump said he wouldn't rule out the use of military force to take control of the Panama Canal and Greenland. He also stressed the importance of European unity and said he and other countries are working on proposals to increase NATO's presence in Greenland. Trump pitched the idea of taking control of Greenland on the campaign trail last year, saying it was important for America's national security. He said he could impose financial penalties or even use the military to force Denmark to cede the island to the United States. Scholz also described Trump's suggestion that the US could take ownership of Gaza, relocate its population and redevelop it as a scandal. Scholz's main challenger, the Christian Democratic Union's Friedrich Merz, also voiced unease about the proposal but suggested there's a lot of rhetoric coming from Washington. Merz said the new US president is predictably unpredictable. Merz, who is the frontrunner in the 23rd of February snap elections, also discussed top domestic issues with Scholz, such as Germany's struggling economy and migration. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has called Sunday a great day after the Baltic countries disconnected from the Soviet-era power grid and joined the European electricity network. The switchover, which the leaders of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania said held geopolitical significance, came more than 3 decades after the collapse of the Soviet Union. It ends the Baltic countries' final ties to Russia.
Їхні енергосистеми відтепер повністю синхронізовані з європейською континентальною системою. Україна це вже зробила у 22-му році, і зараз Балтійські держави теж позбулися залежності. Москва більше не зможе використовувати енергію як зброю проти Балтійських держав.
All remaining transmission lines between the Baltics and Russia, Belarus and the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad were switched off one by one. The Baltic power system was then merged with the European energy network through links with Finland, Sweden and Poland. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the changeover was about more than just energy.
It is about European integration. It is about European sovereignty. It is about proving once again that when we come together, we can move mountains. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, you are at the heart of Europe. You work tirelessly for this moment. And today, all of Europe celebrates with you.
The Baltic countries, which are all NATO members, have often had difficult ties with Russia since declaring independence from the USSR in 1990. Relations hit a new low over Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. 16 power lines that used to connect the Baltic states with Russia and Belarus were dismantled in recent years as a new grid linking them with the rest of the EU was created. The 3 Baltic countries informed Moscow and Minsk of the disconnection plan in 2024 to head off any hostile reaction. Preliminary results from Kosovo's legislative elections show incumbent Prime Minister Albin Kurti's party in the lead, but short of the majority needed to govern alone. With 73% of the votes counted, Kurti's leftist Self-Determination Movement Party has won almost 42% of the vote. Speaking to the press, Kurti said the result confirmed his party was fit to govern.
Pra jemi të parët dhe kjo është një konfirmim për qeverisjen tonë të mirë e të mbarë demokratike e progresiste. Faleminderit shumë të gjithashtu koalicioni ynë fitues do ta formojë qeverinë e re, pra Kurti 3, dhe në këtë mënyrë ne do të vazhdojmë me ato punët të cilat I kemi nisur, por edhe shumë të tjera që janë përputhje.
Kurti has antagonized Western powers after his cabinet took steps that raised tensions with Serbia and Kosovo's ethnic Serbs. That included a ban on the use of the Serbian currency and transfers from Serbia to Kosovo's ethnic Serb minority that depend on Belgrade's social services and payments. The US, the EU and the NATO-led peacekeeping force urged the government in Pristina to refrain from unilateral actions that could stoke ethnic tensions. Brussels also suspended funding for some projects and set de-escalation conditions for their gradual resumption. Kosovo is one of the poorest countries in Europe with an annual GDP per capita of under 6,000 euros. All parties made pledges to increase public salaries and pensions and improve education and health services. However, they didn't explain where the money would come from, nor how they would attract more foreign investment.
Chinese rescuers worked on Sunday to locate dozens of missing people after a landslide in southwestern Sichuan killed one person and buried homes. 2 people were pulled out alive with injuries, and about 360 others were evacuated, according to the state broadcaster. Authorities said the disaster was caused by recent heavy rainfall and geological conditions. President Xi Jinping expressed his concern and urged authorities to make every effort to search for the missing people and minimize casualties.
In the Dutch province of Limburg, residents had the rare chance this weekend to walk on the bottom of a drained canal. For months, they had been watching the works at the Juliana Canal from a distance. The chance to see it up close meant the 3,600 tickets for this open day were sold out in no time.
Ja, dat het toch allemaal groter en dieper en breder is als dat je vanaf de brug en opbrug kijkt.
Those who managed to buy a ticket expressed excitement as they walked along the 4-kilometer stretch of drained land.
Een van die projecten die maak je gewoon nooit meer mee. Dat is 1 keer in de 10.000 jaar dat die maar een keer voorkomen.
Je moet het meemaken een keer. En het water wil ik eigenlijk ook nog zien komen, maar dat is pas voor in april. Hè.
Some residents hoped to find some treasure on their visit, but were left disappointed.
En uiteindelijk lag er niks, althans niet van waarde. Een oude auto wel en een paar oude fietsen, heel veel oude fietsen gedumpt en wel. En een brandkast met een mooi gaatje erin, al opengemaakt door de dieven. Maar er zat niks meer in wat van waarde was, nee.
The canal is being made deeper and wider so that larger ships can pass through it. In order to drain it, a dam was built, after which 1.9 billion litres of water could slowly drain away. The project will take months and is expected to be completed this spring.